Look, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now, and I really feel that this is one of the factors around why people are looking at Spain and the Costa del Sol differently in 2026. When the world feels like it does right now, unsettled, nervous, it's natural as human beings we start to look beyond our current circumstances and ask ourselves bigger questions. Where do we want to raise our family? Where do we want to live the next chapter of our life? What type of lifestyle do I want in the next chapter of my life? These are the questions that we're seeing front of mind with our buyers right now in a world that feels a little bit heavy. And we want to explore that with you today. Warner, thanks for joining me on this one. I think an important topic that we talk about.
Yeah, no, it's controversial, but I think it has to be talked about because it is on everybody's mind. The world just now is a quite unstable place. The security that people felt in their own country is getting compromised, so they're looking for a plan B.
Yeah. And I think the conversations that we're having with buyers today is very different to the conversations that we had with buyers 2 years ago. I think first and foremost, the buyer is a little bit different. So 2 to 3 years ago, we were very much looking at investors, people that wanted to buy after the pandemic, enjoy life in the sun and not wait. They were no longer waiting until they were retired. Today, we're seeing a different type of buyer, a buyer who wants to relocate, a buyer who wants a plan to uproot from their current circumstances and move within 6 to 8 months. And therefore, the language that we're hearing from them is very different. It's very around what does the next chapter of their life look like? How do they want to feel in that next chapter of their life? And that's where Spain becomes a very interesting destination for them, and particularly the Costa del Sol. So look, I'm excited to jump into that with you today. And, this isn't an episode around political beliefs. Everybody's entitled to their own beliefs system, but this is very much around what we're seeing on the ground today and why Spain and the Costa del Sol becomes even more attractive than ever as we navigate this ever-changing, crazy landscape of a world that we're living in. A lot of people are talking about this, but they're not saying it out loud.
Yeah, that's correct. So over the last month, we've had about 10 discovery calls from clients all over the world. And what I'm getting from it, they won't come out and tell you, but what I'm getting for it is they want that security.
Yeah.
And they want to be living in a country where, it has its own culture, has its own backbone, and they feel comfortable.
Yeah. You can really hear an undertone that geopolitical tensions feel very loud for them, particularly if they're coming from the United States. They won't outrightly say potentially what they're feeling, but what we can get is that they want a calmness, they want a predictability, they want to feel safe, they want to be able to walk out in their neighborhood and feel safe, particularly if they're retiring over here. And also, they just really want to know what they're getting into. And Spain and Europe really feels like that safe haven for them right now. That's particularly if they're retiring, right? Now, if they're moving with families, they're very much talking about safety for their family. They might be coming from Northern Europe or from the UK or Ireland. They are putting plans in place for the next 3 to 5 years of their life. And they're very, very, very focused on cost of living and costs and the quality of the next phase of their life. So no longer paying €5-6 for a coffee, to be constantly questioning fuel prices and heating prices. They're fed up with this and they really want something different.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a narrative around the world, there's a scaremongering with the cost of living, the prices are going up and everything. And I think people are just at the end and saying there must be something different for us and a different way of lifestyle where we can just live our lifestyle comfortably without all this noise going on in their heads.
And we get it because that's how we felt 10 years ago. When we moved from Ireland 10 years ago, our main driver was cost. I talk very frankly about this. It was family cost, trying to have our children supported in childcare while we worked and built careers as young professionals I felt that there was absolutely no support for us or no way for us to marry that up. And interestingly enough, families that I'm speaking to that are coming over, it's not necessarily that they can't afford the cost. They can, but they're fed up with it. And they're really questioning, is this the type of environment where I want to raise my family? Culturally, I want to live somewhere that's values led. And it's an interesting shift. But I think there is a broader conversation, Warner, happening around Spain at the moment. It really seems like Spain is on the world stage right now, politically. It seems to be that it's a country that's carrying itself differently from a lot of other governments amongst the noise. It appears to be definitely on the international stage. We won't go on the domestic stage, but on the international stage, the context is that it's carrying itself differently, that it's showing strong leadership, that it's showing a clear position, that it's showing value-led culture, which is refreshing for many people in a political scene right now where there's a lot of voices staying very quiet. And this is landing with a lot of our buyers, and they're questioning that in the discussions that they have with us when they're out on tour or on discovery calls. They're asking about, our opinion on these things and what it's really like to live in Spain.
Spain, when it was coming out of the credit crunch, it was in a bad situation. It was, relied a lot on tourism and house building, and there was developments going on as far as the eye can see. And when we arrived back here in 2016, it was just coming out of that, and it learned its lesson, and it's built itself up in the last 10 years because it's learned its lesson. It's really controlled its finances and its economy. They want to give a voice, and they want to make sure that they have a voice in that political scene. And, a lot of people around the world are taking note of that,
From my point of view, if we just speak, the context I want to speak today is really around how Spain is appearing on the international stage. And I think how that's landing with our buyers is they're seeing Spain as a country who is standing its ground, who is clear on its position, who's not prepared to be pushed aside by a louder voice. And I think that's refreshing when they're coming from a country maybe where they're feeling let down by their leadership or they're experiencing weak leadership. And these are conversations, I would say, that, I'll speak quite frankly, that are particularly happening with our UK and Irish buyers.
Yeah.
The cost of living, weak leadership, and how they're perceiving Spain on that international stage. The conversations that are happening with the US buyer is, as you correctly say, not necessarily coming straight out and talking frankly about what they're feeling, but they're telling you very, very clearly what they want. That's safety, that's predictability, that's reliability, that's outdoors lifestyle, being able to walk out in their neighborhood safely and not feeling concerned. I think these are huge, huge drivers in terms of what we're seeing in buyer behavior today.
Yeah, and most of the people that we're talking about have experienced, they've came to the Costa del Sol, they've toured around, because especially the American buyers, they've toured around and they just feel at home because a lot of the American buyers that we're speaking to, their partners are South American, so the Spanish, and when they come here, they just get that lifestyle that they just love, the Mediterranean lifestyle, and I think that's important.
Yeah, that is. And there's definitely been a correlation there with a lot of the buyers that are coming through. Them or their spouse or their partner has a Spanish origin surname, which is really lovely to see. And there's a craving to come back to that, to go back to your roots. With the Irish buyer, I would say, EU passport, Irish passport, incredibly valuable. It's very easy to make that move. And they're thinking about their next 3 to 5 year plans.
Yeah.
UK buyer, if they have an Irish passport, happy days. If not, they're prepared to go through the motions and go through the steps to make the dream a reality. So they're very invested in whatever they need to do to acquire a visa. But again, to pull all of this together, the fundamental difference that we're seeing is the conversation that we had last year or 2 years ago was all about buying for investment. Now it's about buying to relocate and how to put a plan in place to make that a reality so that the next 3 to 5 years of their lives are impacted in a positive way. Now, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen in the world in the next 3 to 5 years. But what is apparent is that safety, predictability, strong leadership, a country where you can be yourself without ramifications, without repercussions, is more important than ever. A place where you can raise your family in a values-led culture and they feel safe. That is just top of mind.
And to be honest with you, because Spain is an outdoor lifestyle and everything else, we never watch the TV, so we never know.
Well, maybe speak for yourself. I love a bit of TV.
No, but I'm talking about
with the kids,
political affairs or anything like that. You know, if I didn't switch on the news, I wouldn't know what was happening in the world.
Yeah, but I also think this is a very fair point right now. I think as human beings at the moment, we're tired and there's a sense of political apathy out there. We're fed up. We don't want to hear any more bad news. We're tired of it. And if we keep feeding into the narrative, well, we may as well just give up and throw in the towel and say that the next phase of life is done. It's all doom and gloom. So there is a sense at the moment in the world that as humans, we just have enough, excuse my French.
What I did notice is when obviously the Spanish government came out and says, okay, we're cutting VAT on electricity. So that was good from 21% to 10%. So I did notice that when my bill went down 75 euros. That's 75 euros in my pocket.
Absolutely, Warner. And everything is going up in the world. The cost of living is going up. And we all know why, okay? We don't need to name and shame here, but we all know why. And if you're sitting in a country where your government is not taking action to support the needs of your people and you're experiencing weak leadership, like we've all been following what's going on in Ireland with the protests over the last number of weeks. And look, I understand people's frustrations. I understand people's frustrations. The government, people feel that they're not being heard. And I guess I'm not saying that everything in Spain is perfect. I'm not saying that people in Spain are happy with the Spanish government all of the time. But what I am saying is that if you're sitting in your country really pissed off with the cost of living and you're looking at the news and you're seeing on the international Spain looks like it's doing something right internationally among a tense geopolitical stage, but also it's seeing that, okay, our people might need some support during a cost of living crisis. I can see why that's attractive.
Yeah. No, he done it very quickly, and that was in regards to petrol and obviously the electricity for the homes. But Spain has not been hit as much because they did invest in green energy over the last 10 years, which has made them more self-sufficient than looking for importing oil.
So look, none of us know what's going to happen in this ever-changing landscape that we're living in. We don't have a crystal ball to predict, the future. But what I can predict, and I can bet on this, is that we will see more and more people starting to look to relocate to Spain if the landscape that we're living in today continues in this current outlook for the next 12 months. I can really, really guarantee that that's coming. And I expect that the ratio between the investor and the relocator will continue to increase. That means from a real estate perspective that you as a buyer, you're working with your agent over a longer period of time. It means that if you are looking to uproot your life, that you need to get in touch with your real estate agent sooner, because as we constantly tell you on this podcast or on this show, this is not a quick story. If you're planning on 2026 being the year that you relocate, you really need to get in touch today.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, drop me an email. Find me on Instagram, drop me a DM. Tell me if you're resonating with this discussion today. Where in the world are you sitting? How are you feeling? Are you experiencing what our buyers are feeling? Have we summed this up correctly, or is our perception completely incorrect? I'd love to hear your thoughts and your feedback. But it's so interesting to see this broader conversation about Spain happening and evolve in the world. And I think what will be interesting to see next, does the mainstream media start to tarnish Spain in a negative way, like it did last year by saying that Spain didn't want any tourists because they were threatened by Spain's increasing GDP. So it's just interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's good to know that Spain's doors are open everybody is welcome, but obviously there's a process to go through that. But once you do the process and you come to Spain, you have an amazing life.
Any final thoughts, Warner?
Yeah, exactly. So if you are thinking of relocating or buying in the Costa del Sol, or you just want to have a discovery call with me or Sandra, then yeah, get in touch. We've been there, got the t-shirt, so we understand how you're feeling, and yeah, just contact us.
By the way, if the Costa del Sol is on your radar and you're wondering what part of the beautiful 167 kilometers of coastline is right for you, you need to take our location quiz. We don't want you jumping down the location rabbit hole anymore, getting lost, scrolling ChatGPT or online for hours, wondering what right Costa del Sol location is right for you. We've taken the hassle out of this for you. So have a go at completing our quiz. We'll send you back a customized report of what area of the Costa del Sol is right for you. Or head over to our Instagram page, DM the word quiz, and I'll personally send the quiz straight to you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for being here. And wherever you are in the world, I hope you're okay, because we are all feeling it as humans right now. And collectively, we all need to be here for each other and support each other. So thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.